Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie and welcome back to Secondhand Sickness. So, back at the carboot sale, and it feels like every weekend I go here, there's just more and more cars. I mean, look at this chaos of vehicles. But recently it feels like every time I get here I just find like a perfect spot within this ridiculous sea of cars, and there's just no space, and I find like one space. So yeah, I think I'm off to a pretty good start, and yeah, I'm just gonna hit the tables and we're gonna see what we can find, so just stay tuned. So I just got done, and gotta say that I'm feeling a bit uninspired today, and this is on account of a number of things, but primarily because I made a really bad deal like yesterday. Took a bit of a road trip and it didn't end up like I wanted it to. So long story short, I'm just not feeling it today. But I did actually score a small number of things which we are going to go through, so just stay tuned and we're going to check out the finds of the day. So I'm back at my table and it's high time to check out the finds of the day. Not a lot of stuff today, but I'm still quite happy with the stuff I did find. And first up, I got this little bracelet or wristband in the form of a bike chain. Now I actually have a couple of these from before. I essentially had bought two also at a car boot sale, and I essentially wrapped them into a necklace which I actually wear on a daily basis. So yeah, I mean, I'm very much into the sort of punk and rock style couture, so this was definitely something that I wouldn't mind picking up if I found it. And you know, it's pretty simple. You just wrap it around your wrist and use the little hook thingy there. So not sure if this will be a wristband for me, or I will, you know, might use it for something else. But regardless of which, you know, pretty cheap and good find. I think I paid 20 Swedish crowns, so that's essentially €2 for this one. Next up is something that came from the same seller, and this is a book. Not a super interesting book, but I was sort of rummaging around this guy's table just because I felt that I wanted to pick something else up. I was really sort of hunting for finds because I felt that today was kind of slim pickings. I only had essentially bought one thing and I wanted to find some other stuff. So I picked up this bracelet, and I also picked up this old book, which is called Prostitution and Loitering, or the Prostitution and Loitering Law. And this is essentially an old Swedish book which apparently came together with one of the Swedish newspapers at the time. And so this is released by sort of the Swedish Union for, what is it, like Protection of Mothers and Sexual Reform. It's really hard to translate, but yeah, quite a vintage book which apparently talks about the prostitution and loitering laws at the time. I believe this is something that dates back to, what was it, like the 1960s? Oh wow, no, this is even old. This actually says Stockholm 1912. Can't imagine this book is that old, but I mean, it does look really old, so yeah, that's definitely an interesting pickup. And this was also 20 Swedish crowns, so essentially €2. I don't know much about this. I just saw it and sort of realized that this was a book about prostitution and the laws at the time, which I just think it's a interesting thing. It sort of goes together with my general interest in erotica, and you know, I just have a general interest when it comes to like the sexual history or like sexual education essentially throughout the ages. I just think that's a fascinating topic, and so I try to pick up these things whenever I see them. Plus, I mean, a lot of the time the language in this and like the laws and regulations and the standards and whatnot at the time can often be quite sort of shocking and very different from what we have today. And so a lot of the time I will see that people are interested in stuff like this. So yeah, I don't know. It was cheap and I was desperately looking to find something else today aside from my main find, which I thought we would talk about right now. So these were both 20 Swedish crowns per item. So that's essentially €2 per item. But now we are going to check out the most interesting find of the day, which was actually my first find. I, pretty much stumbled on this just straight into walking into the carboot sale. And this was something which I remember these from when I was a kid, like back in the late 80s, mid 90s. I always wanted one of these, but I never got one. And it is a presumably vintage. I don't really know how common these were, how long they were made, but it is a 8-inch plasma ball. Now, I'm sure people will remember these. They were really hot during like the 90s. And it's just this really sort of, I don't know if I would say kitschy, but yeah, you probably know what this is. It's essentially this thing that lights up and it has this sort of electrode, sort of sci-fi feel to it. And it doesn't really do anything. It's essentially just a light for sort of mood lighting, and it looks really cool. So we are going to plug this in, but it does have 3 modes to it. So it's got off, on, and audio. I'm not really sure what the audio is. I assume it's supposed to be audio controlled, like it will sort of activate or things will happen when audio, like when you talk or there's sort of, but I can't really get this to work. I don't know what that's about. Or maybe this is supposed to have audio, which it doesn't seem to do. So I don't know what the audio setting is. Maybe that's broken, but the electronics and the light up does actually work. I will say that the light is quite low in sort of strength or like the brightness, but maybe that's the way it is. So here's just a zoom in on the little label. So no barcode, no real specific sort of, I mean, there's a Chinese company, but it doesn't have any sort of other branding that will indicate as to when this was manufactured. No box or anything, and there's really no markings around it. It's just pretty plain. But the thing is that I mean, I googled on these and I've seen some of these for sale. I'm not sure if this ball is plastic. It actually feels like glass. And I gotta say that this is an 8-inch ball, which I think is like the largest you can get. And just checking on eBay, doing a quick Googling, these are really, really collectible. I don't know if this is like a knockoff brand. I mean, it says made in China, so I don't know if there are sort of degrees as to collectability. But generally, if you find one of these for cheap, I would definitely pick it up. And so it also came with the original connector or the power cord. Does have some cracks in it. But yeah, this is it. Can just check out the AC DC adapter info there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Just give me a moment to do that. And see if the cord actually is long enough. Now, I doubt this will come through very well in the light that I have in my little studio setting here. Yeah, I don't even think you can make this out. That's how sort of... Can you even make that out? There you can see a little bit like it goes to my finger. But you know what? We are going to demonstrate this a little bit better. So I'm actually going to turn out the light for now. I'm actually going to turn off my LED lights manually. So just give me a moment to do that. That's the first one. And that's the second one off. So now you can see this in all its glory. And I gotta say, I mean, this is such a childish thing. Like, I remember these very much from being a kid in the 90s. And it's just, it's such a ridiculous thing. Like, it's just for entertainment and like for, you know, display. But this is such a, I mean, it's such a cool effect. And as far as I understand, I mean, I don't think it's interesting because I don't know if this is safe. I mean, when I do this, I can literally feel a little heat and a little tingling. I don't know if these were like taken out of production or whatever because they're not safe. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are safe, but it's interesting. I never really thought about the fact that I can actually feel that. Not just like it's scary or anything, but it's just a really cool effect. And I don't think that it's like it necessarily has to be like a finger or a body part. I mean, I think I could just use this. Maybe not. I don't know if metal works. Okay, metal kind of works, so I guess it has to be like a conducting thing. But regardless of which, a very cool find indeed. I mean, like I said, if you find one of these for cheap, I would definitely pick it up. You can just Google for this. This is a 8-inch plasma ball. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that, you know, if you turn on the light, it's hardly visible in like regular lighting. Or, well, I mean, I have like my studio lighting on, so as soon as I turn this on, you can hardly see it. Based on my general sort of recollection of how this was when I was a kid, I sort of recall like you could literally see this in like everyday lighting. But I might be mistaken. Maybe this was more like a mood light kind of thing that you didn't really see unless like the lights were dimmed or whatever. So I don't know. And I'm also very unsure as to how this would work. I mean, I can imagine that maybe this is the kind of thing that would, you know, like the effect might have gotten worse with age. I don't know. I'm not an electrician by any means. And I mean, I haven't really read up on this. It's quite possible, like, you know, the effect is bad because it's old. I don't know how that would work. But regardless of which, it's just an awesome find, and I'm so happy that I found this because it is actually something that's been on my mind. I mean, since I was a kid, I've always wanted one of this, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a really, really cool item. And it was definitely a great score for €7. I don't know if I even mentioned the price. Just paid €7 for this, and it was a little old lady selling it, and I was like surprised at like the low cost, because I knew in the back of my mind that I'm pretty sure these are kind of collectible now. And so yeah, she wanted €7. When you're buying stuff like at the carboot sale, you never know, especially with electronics, you don't know if they're gonna work. But she was such a nice lady, and she had even filmed this on her phone. So when I sort of asked her about it, like, you know, yeah, I'm interested, and how much do you want? And she's like, I can show you. And then she just took up her phone and like showed me the clip of the actual ball working. And I mean, no little old lady is gonna do that to scam you. So I just thought that was really heartwarming that she actually took time to film this to show that it actually did work. So I didn't have to sort of think about that. But I mean, I would probably have taken a gamble on this anyway, even though I didn't know if it worked or not. Because, yeah, it's just a great price, to be honest. But that's probably it. So just 3 items today, but do let me know, leave some comments if you know anything about these. I can't really find, I mean, I don't even really know this specific model, if it's worth less, worth more, but it's worth what it is to me. Definitely the €7 I paid. But that's it. I want to say thank you very much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for pushing that. And as usual, hope to see you all next time.